Have you ever wanted to work for a corporation that quite literally crushes the life out of every single person it comes across? Well, then, do I have a game for you? Wait a second. Have you ever wanted to physically modify your.
Baba Booey.
I know I have. Wait.
Good morning, Night City! Yesterday's body count lottery rounded out to a solid and sturdy 30. 10 out of Haywood, thanks to unabated gang wars. One officer down, so I guess you're all screwed, cause the NCPD will not let that go. Got another blackout in Santo Domingo. Netrunners are at it again, poking holes in the power grid. While over in Westbrook, trauma teens scraping cyber psycho victims off the pavement. And in Pacifica, well, Pacifica is still Pacifica. This has been your man, Stan. Join me for another day in our city of dreams.
Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the most interesting single-player open-world RPGs on the market today. It has seen its fair share of controversies, since its launch was riddled with many bugs and other issues, but to this day, the devs have actually fixed most of these issues, and the only thing that remains are some visual bugs, such as floating cars and T-posing characters. That being said, the game has crashed once, but it's a pretty infrequent issue, and it's only really happened once in the 50-ish hours I've played, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. Before I continue, I should add a small disclaimer. I did buy this game when it was on sale, therefore I did not pay the full price for it, but that being said, I've been very, very happy with the game. While it might not be a completely polished product, it is still very, very good overall, and today I wanted to take some time to review some of my favorite parts. Before we get started, I actually wanted to mention that CD Projekt Red is actually planning a DLC for the game coming in 2023. I am really, really excited for this, and I cannot wait to see what they add. The first thing I noticed when I started my original playthrough was how well designed each area was. I actually really liked the overall aesthetics of the game. I even feel like if some areas were visually similar to others, it still seemed like each area had its own unique parts. These visual distinct areas really added to the immersion for me. On the topic of immersion, I would also like to add that the overall atmosphere of the game is very well established. It is really fun to overhear some of the interactions between other characters in the world, and I also feel like being able to buy other apartments, play arcade games, buy new cars, as well as other things I'd like to leave a surprise, truly gets me more invested into the world. But don't let all those features fool you, though. While CD Projekt Red has put a lot of effort into world building, in my opinion they have put just as much, if not more, effort into the actual gameplay. Cyberpunk at its core prioritizes gameplay over anything else, and the combat is a very good example of this. Some gamers are put off by this style of combat, but I believe it's fun and satisfying. There are many who believe that things like headshots should automatically kill a target, however, I believe this style of combat works well for the type of RPG Cyberpunk is. I also need to mention the perk system. Cyberpunk has a system that allows players to create their own builds, which can lead to different experiences every time they play the game. Aside from an interesting combat system, the game offers a large amount of side missions. There are main jobs, which have to do with the story, side jobs, and gigs, which are essentially smaller side jobs. With these types of missions, there is no shortage of things to do in the game. Cyberpunk also rewards you for completing all of the gigs for a certain fixer. There are many great items that can be found during these side missions as well, which means there's more to doing these than just getting EXP. And this is before getting to the fact that many of these missions have interesting stories. Speaking of interesting stories, I must say that Cyberpunk's main story is genuinely very well written, and is honestly one of the best I've played through up until now. For me, the story of a game is one of the biggest factors into my overall opinion on the game, and Cyberpunk absolutely did not disappoint. One last thing I wanted to touch on are the graphics. Cyberpunk's graphics are honestly really good in my opinion, and their quality really does add to the immersion for me. The only thing that somewhat gets in the way every now and then are those infrequent visual bugs that I touched on at the start of the video, but like I said, they're infrequent enough that they really don't impact the experience all that much, so it is what it is. All in all, I truly do enjoy playing Cyberpunk, and my enjoyment is only growing with the newest playthrough. Honestly, it's not a completely polished game, but that being said, it's still a very good product. It combines everything that I enjoy about open world single player games, and I don't feel exhausted by the fact that it's open world. I honestly do hope that more people give this game another chance, and I really believe they would enjoy it if they did so. Just like I truly believe that the angry mob of people who do not like the game that are currently knocking on my door trying to bust it down will never take me alive. Come and get some mother